Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're tackling something that is literally the ultimate science fiction dream, a fully synchronized, real-time galactic civilization. I mean, imagine playing a multiplayer video game with someone across the Milky Way and having absolutely zero lag. It sounds crazy, right? For decades, the idea of just picking up a phone and instantly calling someone on a planet hundreds of light years away, well, it's been totally relegated to the realm of pure fantasy. But what if the underlying geometry of the universe actually holds a hidden loophole? What if we could bridge the cosmos instantly, not by breaking the laws of physics, but by discovering a totally new, fundamental property of space-time itself? Now, you might be wondering, what if the universe allowed FTL communication without any paradoxes? Because usually if you ask a physicist about this, they're going to point out the ultimate buzzkill. FTL communication isn't just technologically hard, it's considered logically impossible. The traditional view is that faster-than-light communication inevitably breaks causality. Basically, it creates time travel paradoxes where effects happen before their causes. And let's be real, nobody wants to accidentally erase their own existence before they even send a text message. But today, we're exploring a fascinating new theoretical loophole. What if the universe allowed FTL communication, but simultaneously possessed a built-in mechanism that explicitly forbids any of those messy paradoxes? So here's our conceptual roadmap for today. We're going to cover 1. The FTL paradox problem. 2. The universal now rule. 3. A synchronized galactic future. 4. How it actually works. 5. Why Einstein remains intact. And finally, 6. The remaining open questions. Let's dive right in. Section 1. The FTL paradox problem, and why it's usually considered impossible. You know, the scientific consensus has long treated FTL as a complete logical dead end. If you can send a message faster than light, relativity detects that from certain reference frames, that message is literally traveling backward in time. But the theoretical model we're unpacking today takes a completely different approach. We're not talking about exotic particles. We aren't talking about tachyons or trying to push radio waves past the speed of light. Instead, we're looking at a model that treats FTL communication as a fundamental property of space-time geometry itself. By completely avoiding particles traveling through space, we entirely bypass the possibility of backward time travel. It's a total game changer. All right, moving on to Section 2, the universal now rule, anchoring FTL to the CMB. The absolute star of the show here is the cosmic microwave background, or CMB, rest frame. In our universe, the CMB is basically the leftover radiation from the Big Bang. And this model proposes that the CMB provides a natural, objective now for the entire universe. It acts like a giant universal clock. By anchoring all FTL communication to the single, universal-wide frame, the relativity of simultaneity problem just vanishes. Think about it. If Alice on Earth sends a message at CMB time t, Bob on a station around Alpha Centauri receives it at exactly that same CMB time t, no earlier, no later. Because the transmission is strictly tied to this universal background, absolutely no mathematical frame transformation can ever turn that into a message arriving before it was sent. Now here's where we have to draw a hard line in the sand between what is allowed and what is prohibited. This model strictly allows the transmission of information. So we're talking about FTL video calls, data streams, telemetry, the whole shebang. But what remains strictly prohibited is transmitting energy or mass. You absolutely cannot send a spaceship, a person, or even a single physical atom faster than light. To put it practically, while you could instantly video call a colony on Proxima Centauri and have a totally real-time conversation, if you actually wanted to physically visit them, well, you'd still have to board a starship and spend years traveling through the cold void of space. The speed of light remains the absolute physical speed limit for anything with mass. Which brings us to Section 3. A synchronized galactic future. Just imagine what this universal now rule unlocks for us. We're looking at the foundation of a true interstellar civilization. Real-time conversation across light years. Colonies, fleets, and scientific outposts perfectly synchronized. We're talking about a galactic FTL internet, instantaneous banking, and emergency alert systems. We could send probes to the Andromeda Galaxy at normal sublight speeds, but receive their telemetry the very moment they record it. And for science, this is a massive leap. We could build true, real-time, galaxy-spanning telescope arrays. Astronomy would be utterly transformed. To put that into perspective, if a supernova explodes in the Large Magellanic Cloud right now, our current telescopes wouldn't know about it for 160,000 years, because we just have to sit around and wait for the light to reach us. But with an FTL information channel, that warning would arrive the exact instant the star collapsed. No delay. So how does this actually avoid paradoxes? Well, because we've anchored communication to that universal now, we automatically bypass the classic sci-fi tropes. The grandfather paradox, it just can't happen because no message can ever reach its own past light cone. The tachyonic anti-telephone, where a message relies on frame-dependent ordering to arrive in the past, that's prevented too because the CMB frame removes any frame dependence for the signal. Closed time-like curves simply don't exist here because no path through the specific spacetime channel can ever return to an earlier CMB time. The universe essentially enforces a single, globally consistent, irreversible timeline for these messages. Causality is completely protected, safe and sound.
Okay, Section 4. How it actually works, the FTL mechanism.
Let's walk through how this actually works, and don't worry, we won't get bogged down in the dense math. Step 1. Think of the universe not as a fluid, continuous thing, but more like a cosmic flipbook or a giant layered cake. This is what physicists call a simultaneity foliation. Each page of the flipbook, or layer of the cake, represents a specific tick of that universal CMB clock. Step 2. We discover a hidden rule in the physics rulebook, a new coupling term. This rule states that information can be shared instantly, but only if it stays strictly on the exact same page of our cosmic flipbook. Step 3. To actually send the message, we aren't shooting a particle from point A to point B. Instead, we're linking two distant points on the same page of the flipbook using non-local quantum entanglement. We're essentially altering the shape or topology of that specific layer. Step 4. To harness this, we need a macroscopic ensemble device. This machine stabilizes that link, allowing two distant points in the universe to share a common state that updates instantly across that specific slice of time. We aren't speeding through space. We're literally just taking advantage of the universe's hidden layers. Section 5. Einstein remains intact, bypassing the limit. Now, you might be wondering, doesn't this totally break Einstein's rules? The really fascinating answer is no, not at all. Special and general relativity still hold completely true. Gravity, space-time curvature, the speed of light, all of Einstein's equations remain completely unchanged. This FTL channel bypasses the light speed limit rather than breaking it. Because the channel isn't actually moving through space-time, it carries no energy, no momentum, no mass, and causes absolutely no curvature. It operates entirely outside the jurisdiction of relativity. Think of it like adding a brand new axiom to an established mathematical system. The new axiom doesn't contradict any of the old ones, it simply opens up a whole new set of rules that operate parallel to everything we already know to be true.
And finally, Section 6. The remaining open questions. So while the logic of this model is remarkably sound, we're still facing some monumental but incredibly exciting engineering and theoretical mysteries. First up is detection. If this FTL channel carries zero energy and zero mass, how on earth do we physically build a transmitter or receiver for it? How do you pin a physical machine to these exact time layers? Second is frame selection. Why the CMB frame specifically? Could there be multiple, maybe even incompatible absolute frames hidden in reality? And third is unification. Could this specific mathematical mechanism naturally pop out once we finally lock down a complete theory of quantum gravity? Honestly, these are the thrilling hurdles that physicists and engineers of the future get to solve. Which leaves us with a pretty profound final thought to consider. If we actually solve these engineering mysteries and build this FTL network, would a universe with this property still feel like our universe? For all of human history, distance has meant delay. It's meant isolation. If the ability to talk across thousands of light years instantly becomes a reality, it fundamentally shatters the barrier of space. It forces us to ask, how would that instant connection rewrite what it means to be a single unified civilization? I highly encourage you to ponder that as we wrap up today. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking questions, and I'll catch you next time.